AITA for wanting to give up my son after discovering he isn't mine? I, 32 am completely lost, and I don't know what to do. I feel like everything I thought I knew about my life has crumbled. My wife, who I adored, passed away suddenly last month due to complications after childbirth. She developed peripartum cardiomyopathy, which the doctor said was rare but severe. She didn't make it. I'm still coming to terms with the fact that she's gone. One minute we were planning our future with our new baby, and the next I was planning her funeral. I've been a wreck. I feel like I'm just drifting from one day to the next, barely existing. And now, on top of the grief, I'm dealing with something I never could have imagined. It started 3 weeks ago when my wife's best friend came over. She looked nervous, almost uncomfortable, and I didn't think much of it. Everyone's been handling the loss in their own way, and I assumed she was just feeling the pain too. But then, after a few minutes of awkward silence, she told me she had something I needed to know. I could see her hands were shaking. I had no idea what was coming. And then she dropped the bomb. She said my wife had confided in her a few months before giving birth that she'd been unfaithful around the time our son was conceived, and that there was a chance, just a chance, that the baby might not be mine. I was in shock. I don't think I said anything for a good minute. Just sat there staring at her, trying to process it. I was angry. How could she come to me with this now, when I was barely hanging on after losing my wife? It felt cruel, like she was trying to tarnish her memory or take something away from me. I was furious. I told her to leave and not to come back, feeling betrayed that she would put this doubt in my mind. For days, I tried to forget about it, but the doubt wouldn't leave me alone. Every time I looked at my son, I felt this gnawing uncertainty. I kept asking myself, what if? It got to a point where I couldn't even sleep. I would stay up all night, replaying the friend's words over and over. I knew I needed to find out, or I'd lose my mind. So, I got a DNA test. It was one of the hardest things I've ever done. Part of me felt guilty for even questioning it, but I couldn't live with the unknown. When the results came back, they confirmed my worst fear. My son isn't biologically mine. I don't know how to describe the pain. It was like losing her all over again, but in a different way. I felt betrayed, like our entire relationship was a lie. This child, the one thing I thought I had left of her, isn't even really mine. I look at him, and all I can feel is this overwhelming sense of hurt and betrayal. I want to love him, but every time I see him, I think of the fact that my wife had this whole other life I didn't know about. I'm ashamed to even admit it, but I don't know if I can raise him on my own. I don't know if I'm strong enough to put aside my own feelings and be the father he deserves. I feel guilty because I know none of this is his fault. He's innocent, but right now, I'm not sure I can give him the love and care he needs. Every time I look at him, it's like a wound that won't heal. It's killing me inside. Some of my friends have told me I need to talk to family members about this and think through my options. I know they're right, but it's hard to even think about letting him go. This whole situation feels like a nightmare, one I can't wake up from. But I keep asking myself if it would be better for him to be raised by someone who can give him all the love he deserves, not someone who's carrying around this kind of resentment and pain. Edit. I've seen some of your comments suggesting I reach out to my wife's friend to get more information. I hadn't considered it because I was too caught up in my emotions. But I see now that maybe there are answers I need to find before making any final decisions. I'll try to get in touch with her to see if she knows more about the affair or if there's anything else I should know. Thank you to everyone who's been supportive, even those of you who think I'm being selfish or weak. This is probably the hardest thing I've ever had to face, and I appreciate hearing different perspectives, even if it hurts. Later that day, I called my wife's friend and apologized for my initial reaction. She said she understood, that she knew how hard it was to hear. I asked why she hadn't told me sooner, and she explained that her loyalty was to her friend, not me. She seemed genuinely conflicted, as if she didn't want to be in the middle of this any more than I did. She admitted that she didn't know much about the affair. Apparently, it was a one-time thing that happened during the day while she was supposed to be working. I don't even know if my wife knew the guy's name. I feel even more lost now. It's like she's taken this secret to the grave, and I'll never get the closure I need. My next step is talking to my family and hers. I know that whatever I decide, it won't be easy. I want to be fair to this child, even if my heart feels shattered. I don't hate him, and I would never abandon him on a whim. But right now, I'm not sure if I can raise him in a way that's healthy for either of us. I'm still processing everything and trying to figure out the right path forward.